So, happy Monday. This is going to be another video, kind of like I did last week, and I enjoyed doing that so much that I wanted to do it again. So, we're here doing another vlog. So, the topic today is words that I hear a lot of people say to me when I tell people that I'm a nutritionist, or when I tell people that I help people learn how to eat real food, not struggling, and or that I work in the industry of trying to help people better themselves. And so whether you're a personal trainer or a dietitian or a nutritionist or a doctor or whatever it is, you probably hear this phrase a lot. I know what I need to do, but I just need to do it, or I just haven't done it. I hear this all the time. And it's a perfectly natural defense response. It's just someone essentially grasping for the easiest excuse essentially for why they haven't done something, even though that explains literally nothing. So because they don't actually know the reason for why they haven't done the thing, the hard thing. So when I hear somebody ask me that, my first response is to ask them, but do you actually know what it is that you need to do? Because in my experience, most people think that they know what they need to do, whatever that thing is, whether it's eating healthier, exercising, going to the doctor, getting blood work done, whatever it is, stop smoking. They think that they know what they need to do, but in my experience, I don't think that is actually true. They have an idea of it in their head. But if they knew what they needed to do, they would be able to outline it step by step by step by step, and they would at least be able to have in their mind a greater framework of how to achieve that goal. But most people, they don't even go through the steps or create those steps for themselves because the task is too monumental. They see it as too big, and so they don't even try, which is a whole nother video entirely, and we can talk about that at some point. But my first question to people is always, do you actually know what it is that you need to do? And really deeply question them about that. The next thing I would ask someone is, do you even know what it means for you to engage in these health promoting behaviors? Because usually that's what I'm talking to people about. Do you even know what it means for you to eat, quote, healthier? And the reason I put air quotes around that is because health is a spectrum. It is not you are healthy and you are unhealthy. It is a complete spectrum. What is healthy for one person may be completely unhealthy for another person. The term health is completely relative. And so for me, if I was somebody who was really overweight and really, really deeply struggling with food and just eating things that I, quote, shouldn't be eating, if I substituted Cheetos for Triscuits, that would be a healthier option for sure. But I wouldn't necessarily say that even eating Triscuits is the healthiest thing, but for one person, switching from eating Cheetos to Triscuits may be a healthier option for them. Hope that makes sense. But then really explaining to people that because health is a spectrum, we don't necessarily need to be trying to black and white compartmentalize it as it is this way or this way or this way, or this person is the perfect picture of health. Because I had to ask myself this a while back, that there is no perfect picture of health. I don't know anybody that is perfectly healthy all the time, day in and day out. That person doesn't exist. Our bodies are so unbelievably complex. Our bodies are detoxing constantly. They are taking things in and flushing things out. And so to say that any one person is completely and 100% purely healthy all the time is a complete farce. That is not a thing. So I would question them too, question this person, question you. Do you really understand what it means for you to eat, quote, healthier for you? Because if you haven't even outlined that in your mind or haven't even really thought about it, then that makes your goal very arbitrary. It doesn't help you clearly see where you're even trying to go. Because if your idea of eating healthy is eating fruits and vegetables 24/7, no exceptions, you were just eating salads all the time, of course you're not going to be able to meet that goal, because that is like 20 leaps away from where you're at right now. Again, as I've talked to you guys about so many times, baby steps are like the key here. You're trying to jump to like the healthiest version of like humans in general from where you're at now. That's a huge leap. Nobody's actually going to get to that point. So really deeply understanding where it is that you're trying to go, and understanding for yourself that health is a spectrum, and what is healthy for you may be a very simple step away from where you are now. The next thing I would ask somebody when they tell me that if they do know what it is that they want to be doing, if they do know what that health thing is for them, that healthy step, my next question to them is why? Why do you want to start making these healthier choices for yourself? What's the driving factor? What's the motivator? Because this is the thing that you will lean back on over and over and over again as the motivator for you taking these continued actions day in and day out. For a lot of people, they think that the best motivator for them is to lose weight. And in my opinion, losing weight purely for aesthetic reasons is like a terrible motivator, because it doesn't really matter what your weight is. If your self-worth is in the toilet, it's not going to be any different if you're, 50 pounds heavier or 50 pounds lighter. Like, it doesn't matter. And you may not think that that's true, but that is 100% the truth. And oftentimes when people do lose weight successfully, it's not necessarily that they feel more confident because they are so much smaller or because that they look different. It's because they have learned to build self-trust along the way, and they've built that self-worth in. And what I'm trying to convince people and trying to share is that your self-worth is inherent, and it doesn't need to be derived from a place of vanity at all. And that's a really, really terrible motivator, in fact. But then other people, it may have nothing to do with weight. It may be purely like, I'm trying to do this for my family, or I'm trying to do this because I, for some reason, think that I should, or because my doctor told me that I need to, or whatever. Like, you have to identify what that motivating factor is for you and ask yourself deeply, do I like this reason? Does this reason make sense? Does this reason feel good to me? Is this something that really resonates deeply? Is this something that is coming from within me, or is it something that's coming from external sources that are telling me something, right? So we always want to make sure that our motivations are coming from the right place. Otherwise, it's not ever going to last, and it can warp into something that turns into a destructive behavior as opposed to supportive and building you up. And the last thing that I would really ask someone is, if they've determined that they know what it is that they are trying to achieve, and they've determined that the motivator is good for them, my question then is, what's actually keeping you from taking those actionable steps? For a lot of people, that reason might be fear, and it could be fear of a bajillion different things. It could be fear of failure, fear of success, fear of what other people would say, fear of not feeling good enough, fear of trying over and over and over again and not being able to, quote, succeed. It could be fear of literally anything. It depends on the person. Or it could be the thoughts of incapability, and it kind of falls back into fear, like the thought that, like, I'm incapable, I can't do this thing, and a lack of self-belief. And that's a major lack of self-trust, and that can be a big reason why people never take those steps of action. A really, really big reason, though, is that for so many people, and this is just how we are as humans, but this is something that can be changed, is that for so many people, the pain of staying the same does not eclipse or does not surpass the pain of change. And that's why we don't take those steps of action to move forward, right? So we're more comfortable staying where we are because it's familiar and because it's known than we are to take steps of action into the unknown, because we don't know what to expect, because we perceive the unknown as a threat or a potential threat. We choose to stay comfortable where we are, despite the fact that being in that state of comfortability, being in that state of sameness of what you've always been doing, has brought you to the exact point that you're at right now, in which you've expressed is where you don't want to be. So we really have to dig deep and consider these ideas of, is the pain of change the same or different than the pain of staying the same? Like, which is greater right now? And for me personally, in my life, I had determined at multiple points, and I have to keep telling myself every single day and deciding for myself, do I like where I'm at? Do I want to be someplace different? And am I willing to go through the pain of change to achieve that goal? And being willing to go through that change is something that is truly and deeply a practice. So from these questions, you can really think about, do I even need to go through this pain of being in that same state of stuckness, being stuck? Because really, for so many people, being stuck is a painful place to be because they feel helpless, they feel like they are incapable, they are afraid, and they don't know what to do. But in reality, the most logical thing that's in front of them is to change, but they don't change out of fear. And what I am offering to you is that you do not have to wait until you are in that place of stagnation. You do not have to wait until you are in so much pain that the pain of change becomes less than the pain of staying the same. You can actively choose to change proactively, essentially like that act of like falling forward rather than being resistive and digging your heels into change. You can fall forward into the change and just take it as it comes, and that way the pain is basically non-existent. Yes, there's such things as like growing pains, but you can really reframe that in your mind to being something that this is for me rather than this is happening to me. So it's really, for me personally and for my clients too, helping them to see and understand that change, in order for us to grow as human beings and to become the people that we say that we want to be, change is a requirement. You cannot stay the same. You cannot keep taking the same actions day in and day out and hope for something different. I think it was Einstein that said that is the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. We have to be willing to do something different, and even if that means doing something so radically different that it takes us out of how we are thinking day in and day out, and not just taking these very like, well, I kind of know how to eat healthier, I think it means eating salads, so I'm gonna try starting to do that. Like, that's a very like surface level actionable step. You're not actually digging really deeply into all of these reasons why, and so that you can understand your own mind enough to be able to take true action from a place of understanding and a place of full awareness. So that's really what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. If you want to go back and watch it again, I highly encourage it. This stuff is so important, and my goal for everybody is just to have a greater understanding and awareness around why we make the decisions that we do, around whether it's food, around our health in general, around our relationships, all of those things. But obviously, because I'm a nutritionist, that's what I'm going to relate it back to all the time, and that's really what I'm here to help you guys with, is to help you understand deeply your relationship with food, why you're making the decisions that you do, and helping you and showing you that there is a different way to go about this. So I hope you guys found this helpful. I'll talk to you later. Bye.